You will spend 90,000 hours working in your lifetime. Most of the time will make someone else rich. Not because you worked for the wrong company, not because you weren't talented enough, because you never understood leverage. And here is what makes this genuinely uncomfortable. This video is not about money. This video is about who is building the future and who is being used to build it. The leverage is already running, you just haven't been looking at it. Right now, somewhere in the world, a 22-year-old is writing code in a dorm room. No boss, no investors yet, no guarantee of anything. And somewhere else, a 45-year-old with over 20 years of work experience is sending that 22-year-old a job application. Same economy, same moment in time, completely different positions inside the leverage equation. The difference between them is not intelligence, it is not work ethic, it is not talent, it is one idea that one of them actually understood and the other one never completely did. There are 4 types of leverage. Every person who has ever escaped the time for the money trap used at least one of them. But here is the thing nobody actually explains. Leverage is not something you acquire, it is something you're already inside right now. The question should be never, do I have leverage? The question is, which direction is it actually pointing? Because leverage doesn't care about your intentions, it amplifies whatever you're attached to. Point it at the right thing and it goes on to build empires. Point it at the wrong thing and it absolutely destroys them. 4 types, 2 directions each. Let's go through all of them. The first type of leverage is labor, and almost everyone alive is experiencing it right now. But on the wrong side. Let me explain. When someone else's vision moves through your hand, that is labor leverage, and the person whose vision it is gets to keep what it builds. Think about that for a moment. Every hour you ever worked with for someone else was your time compounding into their asset, your effort, their equity, your execution, their exit. You were not paid for your time, you were paid to stop asking who owns what your time actually built. Now look at the other side. When labor leverage works for you, a single decision moves the output of 10, 50, 100 people. Amazon, Apple, every company that scaled beyond its founders did it by directing other people's effort toward a shared architecture. The question is never, am I working hard enough? The question is, whose leverage am I? Most people encounter capital leverage for the first time, and that actually works against them instead of working for them. A student loan at the age of 21, a credit card at the age of 24, a mortgage at the age of 30. All of them feel like solutions in the moment. All of them are leverage running against you every single day. Debt does not sleep, it does not take weekends, it does not get tired like humans do. It compounds against you with the same mechanical precision that invested capital compounds for someone else. Capital does not have loyalty, it amplifies the direction it is being deployed. In the right structure, it goes on to build generational wealth automatically. In the wrong structure, it compounds poverty just as efficiently. Warren Buffett did not become the wealthiest investor in history by working more hours than everyone else. He understood one thing earlier than almost anyone. Money, deployed correctly, does not need him to be present. It runs, it compounds, it works while he sleeps. That, ladies and gentlemen, is capital leverage working for you. Most people actually spend their life experiencing the other version and never stop to ask, how do I actually get on the other side of the equation? Every time you open your phone, something is running. Not randomly, precisely. A model built from millions of data points about your behavior is deciding what you see next. What makes you stop scrolling? What makes you feel outraged? What pulls you back tomorrow? The model was written by someone else and it is running on your psychology to convert your attention into their revenue. Their code is leveraging your psychology automatically, precisely, even without your permission. Every minute you spend inside somebody else's platform, it's your attention that is actually being converted into their asset. Now, let's look at the other side. In 2004, Mark Zuckerberg wrote the first lines of Facebook from a dorm room. He did not hire 1,000 engineers first. He did not go to the capital market to raise $1 billion. He wrote code. That code, once deployed, ran for every single user simultaneously. One direction, infinite execution, zero marginal cost per additional user. One person's logic running at the scales of billion, even without the person actually being present. The same technology being used to extract attention from people who never learned to build is available to anyone who's willing to build with it. Code leverage does not care which side you're on, it just runs. In 1936, a man named Dale Carnegie wrote a book. He spent a few months writing it. He's been dead since 1955. That book sold around 800,000 copies last year. Dale Carnegie is not working. Dale Carnegie is not present. Dale Carnegie is not alive. The leverage is running without him. Naval Ravikant posted a tweet storm about wealth in 2018. He spent a few hours probably writing it. That content has been read, shared, turned into podcasts, books, YouTube videos millions of times ever since. One afternoon of thinking leveraged across years of reach. And here is what I want you to understand right now in this moment. You are actually watching media leverage operate in real time. This video was made once. It is reaching you wherever you are in the world, wherever you are watching, without me actually being present. That is not a metaphor, that is the actual model itself. Not trading an hour of my time for an hour of your attention. 1 hour of creation running indefinitely for everyone who actually needs it and wants to see it. But media leverage has a shadow too. The content you consume every day is somebody else's media leverage running on your attention. Your beliefs about what is possible, your sense of what is normal, your picture of who you actually are being shaped by media you did not choose to be shaped by. Passively, continuously, and ladies and gentlemen, at a big scale. Media is the most democratic leverage ever created. Anyone can publish, anyone can go on to build audience, anyone can make something that outlives the moment it was actually created. But most people only ever experience it as mere audience, never as the creator. Here is something that should change how you see this. The average person in a developed economy will spend 90,000 hours in productive work across their lifetime. 87% of that time generates primary wealth for someone other than the person who's actually doing that work. Not because those people were exploited, because they were inside leverage models they did not build and did not understand. Now, step back and look at all four types together. Labor, capital, code, media. Every single one of them runs without you. That is the definition of leverage. Forced multiplication without proportional efforts. And here is what makes this genuinely uncomfortable. They are all running right now as we speak for someone. The question is whether that someone is you or whether you are the resources their leverage is running on. Think about your average week. Whose labor leverage are you? Whose capital leverage are you servicing? Whose code leverage are you feeding? Whose media leverage are you consuming? Most people are not outside the leverage economy. They are actually the input, working inside systems they did not build for outcomes they will never go on to own. And they will stay there until they see the system clearly enough to build one of them for their own. In 2005, a young woman named Sarah Blakely was selling fax machines door to door. She had an idea for a product. She spent her evenings writing a patent application herself because she could not afford a lawyer. She actually spent 2 years being rejected by every manufacturer she ever approached. 2 years of output with zero return. 2 years inside the leverage gap because before a single dollar ever came back to her. That company became Spanex. Today it is worth over $1 billion. And here is the part that actually matters. At month 18, still rejected, still selling fax machines door to door, still nothing compounding. There was no signal that it was working for Sarah. Leverage is a delayed amplifier. You build the systems first, then the systems work. And the gap between building and compounding is long enough that most people actually go ahead and conclude that it is not working and absolutely stop 3 months before it would have actually succeeded. The person who quits a channel after 6 months is not undisciplined. They are inside a leverage gap and they cannot see to the other side. The founder who shuts down before finding product market fit did not lack any ideas. They ran out of conviction before the leverage kicked in. Leverage does not reward effort, it rewards patience inside the right system. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the part nobody actually tells you up front. One tool, 4 questions. Run this tonight. Question 1. Where is my time going and who owns the output? If the output belongs to someone else, you are inside their leverage model. That is not always wrong, but it must be a self-conscious choice, not a default setting that you have never actually examined. Question 2. Which type of leverage am I the closest to building? Not the one that sounds the best, the one that matches your actual skill sets right now. A writer builds media leverage. A developer builds code leverage. Start with what you already have, not what you wish you had. That is deep. Give it a thought. Question 3. What is the leverage gap I need to survive? Every model has a delay before it compounds. Know the number before you start, because the gap feels like failure and you will quit if you don't know what you're supposed to do inside it. Question 4, and this is by far the one that absolutely changes everything. What am I currently building that will still be working when I'm not? The answer is nothing. If the answer is actually nothing, that's not a motivational problem, that's actually a leverage problem. And here is your micro action for tonight. Take the last 7 days, write down every significant hour that you actually spent next to each other. Write one word: building or feeding. Building means you're creating an asset that will work without you. Feeding means you're inside somebody else's system, generating value you will never go on to own. If feeding outweighs building by more than 80%, you already know what needs to change. You do not need more motivation, you need a different architecture. I want to be honest with you. Most people who watch this video will not build leverage. Not because they are incapable, because building leverage requires operating inside a gap between output and return for long enough that it stops feeling rational, and they will go back to the model that pays them immediately, trading time for money, working inside somebody else's system, consuming instead of creating. That is also not weakness, that is a rational response to an irrational delay. But here is also what is true. Every person who has ever built something that has outlasted their effort went through the same gap. Zuckerberg in the dorm room, Buffett in the early years of Berkshire, Sarah Bakley selling fax machines at month 18, every creator who published into silence before the algorithm actually found them. That gap, ladies and gentlemen, is not a sign that it is not working. That gap is the process. Do you remember how this video actually started? 90,000 hours, most of it making somebody else rich, not because you weren't talented enough, because you never understood leverage. You actually understand it now, which means the next 90,000 hours are a different question entirely. You are already using leverage. The only thing that just changed is now you can actually see it completely. You can spend the next 10 years as the input inside somebody else's system, or you can spend the next 10 years building a system of your own. Both compound, only one of them compounds for you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power playbook. Drop in the comments which type of leverage are you the closest to building right now. Those are the comments that I will actually respond to. Think from scratch, build what matters. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I will see you tomorrow.